congrats to A&M. They're a good team, play a unique style, and so congrats to them. I'm proud of how we fought. Disappointed in the loss. I thought we did a lot of really good things to be in a position to win the game. 6 minutes, 23 seconds left. We're up 4. We've got to be able to close in that situation. We have to have the mental stamina and the physical stamina to be able to make better decisions offensively and defensively in those situations, which we did a lot from the 12-minute mark of the second half when we were down 12 until that moment. But kudos to them because they made us pay. They made some big-time shots and some big-time plays, and so give them all the credit. But I'm proud of how we fought. We put ourselves in a position where we had an opportunity to win a basketball game against a team I think is a good team, but we didn't do enough to do that.
Question for Noyes.
Noyes, at the start of the second half, it seemed like you guys handled the press pretty well in the first half. What made it more difficult, especially at the start of the second half?
Yeah, I feel like they just picked up the pace a little bit. They threw the first punch in the second half, and I feel like that's how we went down a little bit. But, yeah, we just got to keep being poised in those moments, taking care of the ball, and I feel like if we do that, we'll be in a better position.
You guys were down by 12 in that second half, but then string together a 16-0 run. What just changed for you guys that allowed you guys to get that going?
I think we just played our game, stayed aggressive, and on the defensive end, I feel like that's where we took a step, just not allowing guys to be comfortable. And, yeah, we feel like we just played better on defense in the second half in that little run, but we got to do that for the whole game if we want to win. So.
Is that one of those stretches that can, I'm sure coaches always say defense leads to offense. Is that one of those stretches that kind of emphasizes that point?
Yeah, I feel like, those defensive stretches, we got to learn how to do that for 40 minutes. You can't just go up and down and runs. We got to play a perfect game, I guess, and do that for the whole game. So, yeah.
Was it more defense that didn't allow you to finish, as Coach was saying in the last 6?
Yeah, and just some turnovers that we could fix, and just we got to be – they did a good job. They finished strong, and we just got to be better than that. So.
Noyes, you just scored points against Ohio State to get 15 tonight. Was there an attitude coming to this game that I need to make a statement, I need to go and show people that I can do what I can do?
Not really. Just my teammates found me. I was open, took the open shots, and just stayed aggressive. So that's really not an objective.
Thanks, Noyes.
Thanks. Thank you.
Curious coming into this about how the team would handle the press, seeing that much press?
I was very nervous, really curious, especially, knowing that we weren't going to have Papa, so the front court depth was going to be a challenge, especially with experience. I thought the minute and 40-something seconds that Kieran came in, I thought he did a really good job, but I was curious how we would do. I thought the first half we handled it well. To start the second half, we didn't, and then I thought it wore us down a little bit as the game went on.
How did you feel, Amari, especially? It seemed like he was handling the ball a lot. They were trying to take DeMarco out of it. What did he do?
I thought he did some good things. If you look at the stat line, he had 8 assists and 2 turnovers, so I thought he did some good things there. But he made some mistakes, like we all did, with some decisions and some forced shots. That we got to clean up. But I thought for the most part, I loved how he competed, and I thought he did a good job at times making some really good passes, really good reads.
Do you feel at times, sometimes the guards are hesitant to take a shot that might be there?
Not really. I think Barry tonight was. The past few games, Barry has shot the ball really well since Bucknell. And one of the things we've talked to him about is that teams are trying to run him off the line now. And I thought he was thinking about that too much. I thought for him to take 1-3 tonight, that's not good. I thought he passed on some, maybe because he's thinking about that instead of just playing the game. That's where we have to help him continue to grow because he's playing awfully well right now. But I think there's more that we can tap into. But I don't think we're hesitant. I don't think, some of our decision making at times isn't great. We have to improve there.
Jeff, they went 20 for 22 from the free throw line. How big of a difference did that
Huge
make?
difference. For a team that presses and uses their hands and is physical, it's amazing. We shot 11 free throws, 2 of them which were a technical foul. So it's really 9 free throws that we shot. That's interesting. Usually when a team presses and picks up and is physical like they are, when I thought we drove, I thought we, tried to do some things. But, credit to them for making 20 of 22. We have to get better at the foul line. I know it. We try to work on it. It's a way to stop runs. It's a way to extend runs. We had some big misses, but we have to continue to get better at that.
I guess when you're looking at Barry, I mean, he might have been hesitant from the three-point line, but rebounding seems like he was everywhere.
Yeah, he played great. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think it's more. He played terrific. He was outstanding. But we want him shooting more than 1-3 in a game.
Stamina is, mental and physical is something you mentioned after the West Virginia game as well. Here tonight. I guess, is that something that can be developed in practice, or does it have to be the guys playing a lot in games?
I think both, but we have to have bodies for practice. We've been banged up a little bit, and guys not able to practice, and so it's tough. Right now in practice, just because every day I don't know who I'm going to have. And, we've had times where we've had 9, 8. And so, it's tougher to do it in practice. We try to simulate it with some non-contact things because, certainly we don't want anyone else to get injured, and we lose some guys and have some, guys aren't having time. Like Beaver's practiced twice and then he played today. And so he's not going to have the stamina because it's not like we're working our butts off in practice, but we have to be mindful. I have to be mindful of everything that we're doing. But to me, it's the mental stamina, it's the toughness, it's the, when we get down, like we have to be able, the body language, all of those things go into it, like where you got to get out of it. And we did. Like I was proud of that. Like we really did. Like we were down 12 and all of a sudden we're on a 16-0 run, and the little bit of the crowd that we had was good, and there was energy. And there's a timeout, I think, during that time. And, we talked about finishing. And, during that stretch when we came back out, we run into a screen and Dominguez gets a 3. Like we can't run into a screen. We did an unbelievable job on him in the first half, and we didn't do a good job on him in the second half. We have a couple of turnovers, which leads to him getting a 3, offensive rebound. We don't stay in front of a guy. It's all of those things that you got to lose yourself into, just win, man, just making plays to win instead of I can't make a shot, or man, I haven't gotten a shot, or all of those things. That's what I mean, where we collectively as a group have to grow. I mean, even your question, like Noyes didn't score last game. Like we won last game. But that's what I mean. That's what these kids deal with. And that's what we're trying to get them out of. Like, it should strictly be about winning, not about how many points you got. And that's fighting human nature, because that's the biggest thing. But, the really good teams, and I've coached some really good teams. I've been a part of some really good teams. I think this team has a chance to be a good team, but it won't be a good team unless everyone's mindset is on how do I affect winning. I'm not saying we aren't. I'm not saying that, but we have to do it at a higher level consistently in order to be the team that we want to be.
Jeff, what made Aggie so difficult to defend?
They do a really good job with him. At times in the first half, we switched. One of the big things is that we wanted to try to take threes away. They're averaging 12 made threes a game. They're in the top 5 in the country in attempts and makes, and they really, really do a great job of that. So we didn't mind giving up some of the twos. That was part of our strategy. The last 4 games, they're averaging 102 points per game. For the season, they're averaging 94, 93.6. And so we felt like if we could keep them in the 70s and low 80s, that would give us the best chance. And the best way to do that is to not turn it over. That's where they get threes. and then to stay out of rotation, so to contain dribble penetration, because most of their threes come off of passes, off of dribble penetration, and in transition. And so part of it was strategy to maybe give up some not just give them up, but if they're making twos, that's keeping them away from threes. But he's a good player. He's an older guy. He's a 5th or 6th year guy. Was a really good player at USC last season. Averaged almost 10 points a game, about 6 rebounds. The last 10 games of the year, he was about 15 and 9. So he's older. He has experience. He's good. He's got a great competitive spirit about it, it seems. Coaching against him, seeing him out there, seeing how he communicated with his teammates. And he seemed to be all about winning, because I've seen games where he hadn't scored that much, and he's been the exact same guy. And so that's a good guy to have on your team.
Where do you think Roman's at right now as far as developing a little more consistency from long range and at the charity stripe?
Yeah, well, he's in his head. He's a freshman. Everything's extremely fast for him. Again, he's a freshman that didn't have a summer. All of this stuff is new. Like you've heard me say over and over, he didn't get here until the end of until the second week of September. And so he's been with us doing this just for a couple of months. I think he's fatigued already. Most freshmen hit a wall. Normally it's around January. For him, I think it's hit him a little bit right now. Partly because this is the first time he's done basketball exclusively. Basketball has always been the secondary thing for him. His main sport was rugby. And so all of this is new for him. But I thought he did some good things in the second half for us. Finished, he did some really good things against Ohio State. He's a good player. We just have to help him continue to get better and not get down on himself.
You've obviously coached against guys you recruited before, but I think this might be maybe the first time you've coached against somebody who played for you. I mean, how was it seeing Fetty?
Yeah, this is the second time coached against Noah Collier when he was at William & Mary. It was fine. I mean, I root for Fetty. He was a big part of us changing, what we did here. And, the last 3 years we're 4th in the league in wins. Not a lot of people know that. Fetty was a big part of 2 of those teams, and probably the 2 best teams. Last year we were good until we got hurt, but Fetty was the anchor on that team 3 years ago, and then 2 years ago with Bub and Blake and Lowe and those guys. And so Fetty will always have a special place here in our program with me. I'm glad our fans treated him well, because he was a fan favorite when he was here. And I have rooted for him when he was at Texas Tech, and I didn't root for him tonight, but I'll root for him the rest of the year. I hope great things happen for him.